You mentioned earlier how well Mac Jones did during the games missed by Brock Purdy with the case of turf toe, one of the injuries that never sounds nearly as bad as it truly is,
Yeah.
the pain and the debilitation that it causes. And I think back to 2019 when they had to lean heavily on the run game because Jimmy Garoppolo almost served up 3 interceptions to Eric Kendricks during the divisional round against the Vikings, so he became Bob Greasy minus the glasses the rest of the way until the Super Bowl when they unleashed Jimmy Garoppolo. But there's a fundamental difference between Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, and we saw it last night. The 2 Purdy touchdown runs, he's got an explosiveness to him that is grossly underrated.
Right.
And then the roll out again, because the first 2 touchdowns, the 2 rushing touchdowns, rolling to the left. Then he rolls to the left again, and they're going to throw the ball. He's looking like Josh Allen. The way he bought time, the way that he stopped and started, the way that he just kind of like instantly said, there's my guy, zip it to him. That had Josh Allen written all over it. Watch this here. He stops, he pumps, he backpedals, he darts forward, and then as he's approaching the line of scrimmage, he makes that little Josh Allen flick over to Kyle Juszczyk. That was an incredible play that I didn't know he was capable of making.
It was probably the best play of his career. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, I mean, that was incredible. Now, he's an underrated athlete. We know that, and we've been saying that since they went to the Super Bowl and played the Chiefs a few years ago in Las Vegas. So he can make those type of plays, and he doesn't get enough credit for what he does it. And it's, I think, a little bit sometimes because he's just not sexy. He's got a elongated motion, so that doesn't always lend itself to looking cool on TV, and the arm doesn't just pop. It's like Caleb Williams. You see it when he throws it, you go, oh, my God, the ball flies out of his hand. So that's where he gets maybe not the credit he should deserve. But he's got an incredible feel for the game, and we've seen the last 2 years he is more than a system quarterback. That's for sure. I'm not saying he can carry the team like Mahomes or Josh Allen or anything like that yet, but he can still do enough in moments. And with as good as they are on offense, he doesn't have to carry the team. He just has to have a few plays here and there where he has to go, okay, Kyle, I'll save you here. You didn't call the perfect play. Somebody's not wide open. I can make something happen like you see right here. That's exactly what he did. And that little element with Shanahan's offense and all the bells and whistles and plays he has, watch out. And then if he starts hitting these kind of throws on the regular, 25, 30-yard lasers down the middle, right? That's where the 49ers will be scary in the playoffs. But
one of the reasons that football became as popular as it did, it is a visual sport that thrives on TV. And as it relates to Brock Purdy, for whatever reason, and this is separate from the play, there's nothing about him that is sizzle or swag.
Exactly.
Nothing. Even when he does the dancing, it's kind of cute, but it's not. He doesn't have an aura. And I know some 49ers fans are going to be upset, but he's like Clark Kent, who when he becomes Superman is still Clark Kent. Right?
I feel you. I don't feel too different than you. I'm with you that way. Right, and yes, his feel for the game is elite. His biggest advantage he's in is that he's with Kyle Shanahan, and we've seen Shanahan make everybody look awesome, a.k.a. Mac Jones earlier this year. So I think within that, he's grown as a quarterback, but he does have the ability to make these plays, and I think he'll continue to kind of press the issue. Last year, he lost himself in trying to make too many of those plays. And we talked about that in the offseason, remember?
He was determined, and he gave quotes to Michael Silver at the time. He was going to go for it, and he wanted to be dominant, and he was trying to will his way into making plays that he's not physically capable of making.
And he'll tell you, and I know he said this in the offseason to somebody at one point, and you heard me say this during the year, I kind of messed up the slam dunk like system plays. Like I got off the basics sometimes where just like, Shanahan told me to read this guy and I didn't read him. And then I just tried to play backyard football. So I think right now he's got the perfect mix of system. I'm going to tear you apart. Shanahan's giving me all the clues, everything I need to do. Wait, Shanahan was wrong on this play. Hold on, I'll buy some time and make some magic. You couple that with a run game going in San Francisco, and that's where they're scary, right? And the offense is amazing. And Shanahan, you think about since 2019, Mike, right? We're 2019. I know the first year wasn't great. Year 2, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. You talk about it in Kansas City. Week 3. Then after that, it's Super Bowl, miss the playoffs, NFC Championship game, go to the Super Bowl, missed the playoffs, and here we are in a game for the number 1 seed. I mean, they're on some run right now, and this is a year where, like we talked about the Bears, where it's really next year where they could spend some money. This is a year the 49ers are rebuilding. This is a soft rebuild year. And that, to me, is kind of crazy, and I think speaks to how awesome Shanahan is. And when Troy Aikman says if he could have one coach to start an organization, it would be Kyle Shanahan, because that's New England stuff. New England would rebuild and go to the AFC Championship or be the number 1 seed. And that's just, I think, speaks to how awesome Shanahan is behind the scenes with everything he does in the organization.
And back to Purdy, I think it may be as simple as he stopped trying to be anyone but Brock Purdy.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not going to try to be Tom Brady.
Right.
I'm not going to try to be anyone else.
Allen.
I'm going to go be the best possible version of me, and that's how you flourish authentically and you stay within the lines. Because I think any athlete, especially a quarterback who tries to do more than he's physically capable of doing, is asking for trouble. You stay within what you know you can do, and then you never know what might happen, just like the play we saw last night that looked like Josh Allen.
Right, or the play we saw where he threw the interception in the end zone to C.J. Gardner-Johnson and got called back for illegal hands to the face by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just barely as the guy. But those were like the plays you saw last year where he went, wait, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do that? And I got scared he was going to get a little carried away last night doing some of that. But that was it. He made that play. He learned from that mistake, and I don't think anything was dicey ever again. But the guy's a leader. The team believes in him. To throw a pick six on the first pass of the game and then just come back out and act like it didn't even happen and just drive right down the field constantly throughout the night. Phenomenal game by Brock Purdy.
And that was huge because we've seen 1 become 2, become 3, become 4 for him.
Right.
He stopped it. He cut it off, and he put it behind him. That was, I think, a huge step in his personal growth in a primetime game with the stakes that it had, to not let that become a snowball situation. Yeah. I thought that was huge how they responded.
I'm with you there, totally. So we'll see. They got the Seahawks coming to town, right? It's a Seahawks team that I do believe is more talented than the 49ers. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But it's Clint Kubiak, where Robert Saleh and Shanahan are going to be like, wait, he runs my offense. Hey, Kyle's going to knock on Saleh's door and go, hey, they're running my offense, but the basic version of it. Like, that's what they're doing. It's the first few weeks of my training camp offense. That's what they do. So they're going to have a little advantage of knowing that offense and what they do there, right? And as hot as that 49er offense is right now, I know we both think a lot of that Seattle Seahawks defense, but they got their work cut out with them with this group right now.
Well, an opportunity for the 49ers to take the number 1 seed in the NFC with a victory. It is amazing to think that it's come down to that after everything they've been through and the magical year the Seahawks have had. And again, as I said earlier, it's just like last year for Sam Darnold. Go on the road against a division rival, and in this case, a team he spent a year with.
Yeah.
And have that 1 seed riding on it. And
full
that's
circle
the game.
here.
That's the big game on
Did you
Saturday
see the
night.
stat about last night? I think it was on our group text where the Bears are the first team to lose a game, right? It was 96-0.
Yes.
With a 300-yard passer, score 30-plus points, don't have a turnover. I don't think anybody's ever lost in the history of football with that formula right there until last night with the Bears, and I think, that speaks again to the defensive issues they got.
35 or more points, score a defensive touchdown, have 0 turnovers. Josh Dubow of the AP. Teams in the Super Bowl era had been 96-0 in the regular season and playoffs when doing those 3 things before the Bears lost the game.
That's incredible.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.